Hey friends, welcome to the Johnston City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnston City just a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson, with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. If you're interested in buying or selling a home in the area, or if you're looking at investing in a rental property, give us a call at 423-930-8003, and we will look forward to helping you. Now, let's get to today's episode. It is a little bit chillier November day here in Johnston City, but the chill in the air is kind of welcomed. It's like we've missed fall a little bit. It's been a little hot. It was 65 degrees yesterday. I got to play golf. It was fantastic. But I was excited about that. I'm excited about fall, but I'm really excited for you guys to meet my new friend, Brandon Bell, with Risin Vibes Kitchen. How's it going, Brandon?
Doing great, Colin. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome to the podcast. I think you said you hadn't done a podcast before.
I have not.
That's all right. This is our first go-to, so we'll figure it out together. You'll be fine. We'll be good.
We got Mitch.
We got Mitch. Mitch has done 1,000 of them. Yeah. So first question, you've listened to the podcast. Mm-hmm. What do you love most about Johnston City?
God, I love this question, and I've thought about it and pondered it.
Good.
And there's so many things. I think first and foremost is the community here.
Oh,
so good. Hands down. We were sort of shepherded in by a good friend from the area. And a funny story, when I pulled in with my moving truck, there was about 15 people in my driveway that I'd never met before. And I said, "Who are you people?" They said, "Daniel sent us. We're here to move your stuff in." And literally those people have become family to us. And
back in California, those people would have been there to take all your stuff? Is that what
back in California, it probably would have taken about 3 months to organize something like that.
Really?
And half of them would have showed up. No,
holy smokes.
No, we have a great community there as well. But sight unseen, this community has embraced us, and welcomed our growth and our family in a beautiful way.
I love hearing that, because I promote our area as just loving, and like we just want to take care of each other and embrace each other and support and help each other. And I think we've really seen that happen a lot lately with all the flood response stuff. And it's good to hear with just moving. I mean, because you've been here how long now?
I've been in the Tri-Cities area for almost 3 years.
Okay.
We've been in the region for almost 4.
Okay, awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Where did you grow up?
Well, that's sort of a loaded question. But, bullet points, I was born in Miami, childhood in Atlanta, a short stint in Texas, and the majority of my upbringing in Northern California.
Okay, what took you all over the place?
I call it the paper chase. My mom was in computer programming early on, and that community, as it spread, they sort of would get promoted and bring each other on.
Oh, that's cool.
And so my dad was sort of a jack of all trades and a Marine veteran and could always kind of find work, but my mom sort of, pressed the moves.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. Did you like moving all over the place when you were a kid, or?
In hindsight, yes.
Yeah.
During the time, it was a little challenging.
Yeah.
Especially when I got into those double digits. And I'm never going to have a friend for more than 5 years,
Right.
Well, that's definitely proved myself wrong. Now it's friendships for 25, 30 years.
Yeah, that's cool. You can stay in touch with lots of people.
I do. Yeah. And I really was able to pick up a little bit from every place I went.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's talk about why you're here. You're promoting your food truck, right?
Yes.
So tell me all about this thing. I love the name. What's the name?
So we're called Risin Vibes Kitchen.
Risin Vibes.
Risin Vibes.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's really, the name comes from our original business in California. It was called Rise Up Catering. We really believe in rising tides, raising all ships. And we are vibrational people, and we believe that we absolutely get back what we put out. And so, not necessarily good vibes only. We all have our off days, but when vibes are good, they can be better. And when vibes are down, they can absolutely be lifted, and we can lift each other up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Where did you, talk to me about kind of energy and the vibes part of it?
Sure.
Because a lot of people, that's just kind of hokey or whatever. But I feel like the earth is full of good energy, like the Lord made it, right? And it's coming, and it comes into us, and we give it back off. You can meet somebody and feel their energy right away.
Absolutely. You can always shift, right? You can always shift up, and really from a vibrational scale, with love being at the top and anger and revenge being at the bottom, right? There's a huge scale, and It doesn't have to go from anger to love.
Yeah.
It can go from anger to frustrated.
Yeah.
And then from frustrated to, maybe he's a little sad or whatever.
Right.
And then eventually you can cross up and, we pour that into our food. From a culinary perspective, I just believe the food is a conduit. It's an opportunity to connect. And so, when we pass something either through our festival booth kitchen or through the truck to somebody, we know that's an opportunity to share love, to nourish someone, either, internally with the food or externally with, just a well wish. Or sometimes our festival booth kitchen turns into a therapy counter. And that's why we always have multiple cashiers. So if somebody needs to step aside and be with somebody for a minute, we can keep the line rolling.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you just graduate from high school and start a food truck, or what was the story?
No, I've actually, in high school, I had my first job as a dishwasher. And
Same.
And I worked my way up in the kitchen from there. And then eventually I went into the front of the house. And then it got to be college time and didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew restaurants, so I went to school for hospitality management at Florida International in Miami.
Nice.
And it was there I realized that at that point in time, I could make a lot more money as a bartender than I could as a cook. So I did that, and that took me into management. Worked all the way to a general manager level. And
which brand? Hotel?
What's that?
Where were you for the?
I was at Houston. Well, I went in front of the house with Houston's Steakhouses, which is a national thing. And then when I moved back to California after graduating from college, I became a manager at a steakhouse in San Carlos, California.
That's cool.
Worked my way up, and then at some point in my 80th hour of my nth week of this, I said, this is a lot, and a friend called me, and I took a sales job as a specialty foods wholesaler.
Oh, wow.
So I did that, and then came to a crossroads after the natural disaster we went through in California with a wildfire, and that came to an end, and then I found a job as a dishwasher repairman. Realized I'd never really worked with my hands. I didn't know any trades or anything. So I took a job with a big company called Ecolab, and got an amazingly well-rounded training in electrical, mechanical, plumbing. And I did that, and I transferred here with them. And then I was under somebody's dishwasher in Boone, North Carolina. And I said, maybe somebody should be fixing my dishwasher. And I felt like I had gone the full circle and said, you know what, it's time. And I drove home that night, and I walked through the door, and my wife, Lacey, asked me, how long are you going to do this? I said, do what? She said, live a life out of your purpose. When are we going to go forward with our business? I said, well, I was just coming home to tell you. How could I put in my notice?
There you go.
So alignment all the way through, and that's just a snapshot. But yeah, I'd run the full gamut. And said it's time to become an owner, and so
that's cool. Now, where did the Risin Vibes, how did you decide, okay, this is the type of food we're going to put out, we're going to do it through a food truck, we're not going to open a storefront? Mm-hmm. Tell me about the process of thinking through that. And is Lacey a part of the business?
Oh yeah, she's 50% owner, the whole rewind to 2016, we were just dating. We both love music festivals. I grew up going to reggae festivals and raves back in the 90s, and I've always just loved the music scene and how it just gets people to an uninhibited state and feeding people in that element. I love festival food. I love trying all the different foods. So we're sitting there at this festival. We're watching this dumpling truck. It's just 3 a.m, and people are just coming out of the woodwork and buying 3 dumplings for $20.
Holy cow.
You know what I mean? And they're bumping house music, and Lacey goes, we could do this. And that's where the whole vision came from. And we decided to call it Rise Up Catering. And shortly after we put together our business plan, we lost our house in a wildfire. and which brought me to, we just started the business and all this stuff. So anyways, COVID came right after that, and we said, okay, let's time to rewind on the business, and let's get our foundation set again, and we'll know when it's time. As far as the food goes, we want, we don't do frozen food. We don't do, everything we do is handmade, chef made. We figure out how to get it to a festival service level. And so we went with our front runner of kind of tropical inspired soul food is the vibe. And which is kind of me in a nutshell, between Miami and Atlanta and California and traveling to Costa Rica and all this stuff. So we said, well, what's about as Southern as it gets? And we said, well, chicken and waffles. And we said, okay, how can we play that? And it brought me back to going to concerts and stuff in Miami, where down the whole street is griddles full of arepas. And those arepas. And I said, well, what if we did like a chicken and waffle spin with the arepas?
And tell me what an arepas.
It's a griddled corn cake, essentially.
Gotcha.
And there's a couple different styles. Mainly it's Venezuelan or Colombian. Venezuelan, it's a very simple presentation, and they stuff it with meats like pork or chicken or something like that. The Colombian version, which we decided to go to market with, is called the arepa de choclo. And it's a sweet baby corn arepa, and it has condensed milk and cheese and butter. And I said, this is probably more suited for a Southern palate. It's a little more approachable.
Yeah.
Sometimes when people ask us what it is, we're like, well, it's kind of like cornbread and pancakes had a baby.
Hey, there you go.
And it's gluten-free, and we make a vegan version. And
sounds delicious.
It's delicious. And we put some maple syrup on there, makes it very approachable, and it also brings our concept together in one dish.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about, where did you learn to cook? I mean, because you said you were kind of in the back of the house with this. Did you get to cook in the steakhouse, or?
I did some cooking there. Mainly cut my teeth cooking with my mom in Georgia.
Yeah.
She was an entertainer. She wasn't really a knitting circle type of Southern gal, and I wasn't necessarily a shirts and skins, football in the street kind of kid.
Right.
So I found a good home with my mother in the kitchen.
That's cool.
And so she taught me how to cook, and she taught me how to cook for many. And she taught me how to cook with love and without recipes.
There you go. Yeah. So just feel your way
that's where
through
it started. And then
Yeah.
I think I picked up my first cookbook around maybe 12 years old. Yeah, I made some very loosely packed shrimp burgers, which most of them fell through the grill. But, from there, we'd cook for my friends. A lot of my friends had broken homes and stuff growing up. And so in my friend group, I was always kind of the cook as well, quesadillas and burritos and things like that.
Kind of bringing people together at the start, right there.
Always, man. Yeah, always.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it a number of times at our church about how the Lord was either leaving a meal, going to a meal, or getting or sitting at one, and it's just eyeball to eyeball like we are. You just get to know somebody, and there's a reason our bodies need to stop and eat every day, 2 or 3 times, or depends on your meal schedule. You might do the 6 small meal deal, but you got to stop and eat. Your body can't just run forever. And
and that's also a big reason why we chose music festivals.
Yeah.
To launch our business, because people make choices at music festivals that sometimes don't serve them internally, and they really need to eat.
They should.
Like, hey guys, you want to go for 4 days and see it all the way through. Eat something. Eat something.
You're going to need some energy.
Some nourishment, some nutrition.
Little base layer to start.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's funny. So are you still hitting festivals? Where do we find your food truck?
We are locally, we do Meet the Mountains, we do Blue Plum. We're hoping to get into Rhythm and Roots this year.
Okay.
We do some smaller things in Irwin, in tap houses.
Okay. How often is the food truck rolling?
As often as possible. We also do festivals abroad as well. We did Texas Eclipse this year, which was a huge festival, 60,000 people.
Whoa.
That was a big haul and a massive undertaking. We did a couple in Kansas, and then we have a good pocket of festivals we do in Florida during the wintertime.
That's cool.
Yeah. And So yeah, so we travel around locally. We prefer to do festivals, and we're actively looking for a kitchen space to call our own and have the truck in front of. And yeah, so right now, find us on social media and try to track us down.
Yeah. How many days? Is it weekly you're open, or is it more like a monthly thing that we? Because now I'm kind of craving one of your arepa pocket.
Well,
things.
right now, so this past season, since Helene is this region's very busy event season, this is go time for a lot of mobile operators and events. We were in for Storyteller. We were in for probably 4 events that were rightfully canceled after Helene.
Yeah.
And quite a bit of food truck business as well that we passed on. We did, however, have a great opportunity with World Central Kitchen, which is a big international nonprofit
That's cool.
that fed a lot of people, and they helped back us financially to feed thousands of people since Helene.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we actually tell our numbers, and we did somewhere just under 8,000 meals in 6 weeks.
Dude.
With a team of 4.
How great is that?
A quick shout out, if I can.
Yeah,
to Mark Wallace, who's my ace in the kitchen, my wife Lacey, Chef Jesse Fields, who's an amazingly accomplished chef here in this area.
Cool.
And Chef Hannah Groves. I've surrounded myself with an amazing team.
Yeah.
And the 4/5 of us, plus a handful of volunteers, we're able to
8,000 meals.
produce almost 8,000 meals
That's
in 6
unbelievable.
weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Again, it's our community, man. We love each other, right?
We do. And the love is magnetic. I mean, we met people coming in from as far as Missouri, Oregon. I met a guy from Oregon who just drove out here and was, building a bridge, West Virginia, Michigan, New York. I mean, it's incredible the people we met. We were stationed in Poplar, North Carolina for 4 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Incredible outpouring of love and connection. Yeah, really powerful.
Now, does Lacey does she have a culinary background as well?
No, she does not. Lacey was raised on pasta and butter.
Nice.
And very down home, kind of mom's cooking.
Yeah.
Right. And I came in like, our first date, I made her a cumin pork roast with cherry Zinfandel sauce or something.
Something
She's like, I don't know if you like this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like putting it all out there, and she goes, I don't eat pork. I said, let's just put the idols behind, let's just give it a shot. And she was like, she looked at me after that first bite, and I was like, I think I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, hey now, this guy's got skill.
So I've opened her up to culinary in a lot of ways, and she's definitely opened my heart into a lot of ways. She taught me about gratitude. Which very simply, as she put it to me, is you don't have to do anything, you get to. And I said, no, I have to go to work and I have to do this thing. She goes, you don't have to, you can choose to. And if you choose to, you can be grateful. And I didn't understand it for months. We would argue back and forth because it was major programming shift, from these things that we're told you have to do this and you have to do that. It's all a choice.
Yeah.
And there's going to be consequences or benefits to any choice you make.
Yeah.
Right. So she opened my heart and I opened her palate.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great match made together. I've studied gratitude a lot, and it's one of the highest forms of energy you can be in. I mean, when you're in gratitude, you can't be angry. You can't be mad at somebody if you're sitting there just listing off all the wonderful things about them and what you're thankful for. And so it changes you.
Yeah. And even when I've really hit that wall of frustration, I can be grateful for the learning experience.
Oh, 100%.
As Lacey says, I'm grateful for teaching me that I haven't reached my highest self.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Because sometimes we'll go too, like, oh, I'm grateful that I have a job, or I could be, in a terrible situation, and take yourself to that place, which sort of grateful, but it kind of takes you down a little bit. And then, so yeah, you're grateful that you can help people out of terrible situations, or it's just, yeah, I think as long as we're giving our lives away, then we're doing what we're supposed to.
Yeah. And at the very root of it, I'm grateful for this breath.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, just in that, to be grateful for every breath.
Every heartbeat.
And every heartbeat. Right.
And then what are you going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to choose to keep it.
And then action.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. And then action.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. What do you like to do for fun when you're not making food?
I love to play with my kids.
Yeah. Tell me about the kiddos.
Gracelyn is almost 4.
Aw.
She's just full of love and spunk and grit and curiosity. And she's very extroverted like I am.
Yeah.
She's never met a stranger.
That's sweet.
You know, so really just working with her to harness that energy. And then Preston, he's almost 2, he'll be 2 in May, and he is very much like his mama. He's an observer. He's gonna smell it before he tastes it. Graceland, like, just
throw it in there,
right? Yeah, they're just a blast. They become more and more fun. Individually, I love to mountain bike.
Yeah.
I like to get into the gym when I can. You know, talk to old friends, and paint. I like to paint as well.
Oh,
So
really?
some of my fun hobbies.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
What do you love most about, like, what's your favorite thing to do in Johnston City fun wise?
Waterfalls.
Oh.
Well, in the area, waterfalls. We chase down a lot of waterfalls. We've been to over 50 waterfalls.
There's a song about don't be chasing waterfalls.
I know. Well, you know what? They also said no scrubs.
That's true.
We go all day.
We could go all day.
TLC. So, but yeah, in Johnston City itself, I think the most fun things we like to do is, you know, we walk around Johnston City a lot. We love the holiday time here. We do the Christmas trees.
Oh yeah.
You know, we visit our friends over at Johnston City or photography in the studio whenever they'll have us in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Mike and Victoria, love you guys. And eat. You know, we eat. We like to go to.
Yeah, talk about some of the other restaurants that you're thinking like are tip top from a culinary perspective.
Yeah, I would say Wan Xiao is probably my most attractive menu. Mexican, the Costa Chica. They got a new one up there where I think there's be an Asian buffet or something.
Yeah.
I love walking in there because it's got the Asian art, but then it's like a full Mexican tienda. You know, love those 2 places. We like Project Barbecue. Mm-hmm. I know they've been on the show.
Yeah, those guys are
but man, they crush it. That brisket just melts. That's meat butter. Is what I call it. It's freaking meat butter.
Butter. I haven't heard that.
Like, how did you get it to dissolve like that?
It's
you know, food truck wise, event wise, Groovy Grover's. If you haven't had,
she was on here too.
She's rad.
We had some great food from her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super healthy.
Super healthy, you know, and flavorful.
And a lot of fun. When she meets you at the window, it's just like, what's that?
Totally, yeah.
High energy.
Yeah, and you know, another one that we really like is the Brunch Box, and that's one of our other favorite food trucks.
Okay,
yeah.
The Brunch Box.
Yeah, Lo and Steve, they're great people.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is there like some kind of app or site or something like that where all the food trucks could put in their locations, so you like driving around, you could be like,
they have them. You know, I think that I don't know what they are. You know.
Yeah. We're gonna
be honest with you. I have a food trailer. I mainly got it for the health department.
Okay.
They really like to have a licensed entity. It makes things easier.
Sure.
It gives us great marketing. You know, there's a lot of different variables to the mobile food vending business. You know, some guys like to do the rallies. You know, and they like to get out there and they move as a unified unit and they do rallies in the parking lots. Yeah. You know, for us, we love events. You know, it's more risky because you're putting, you know, vending fees and you know, every time I go shopping before a festival, I'm like, it's kind of like playing blackjack.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm buying $2,000 worth of food.
Yeah,
I'm not going to sell it all.
we basically, now we're getting into where we're doing events for second, third time. We can go back and look at numbers, what worked, what didn't.
Right.
But those first time events, it's like, hey, you know, that's why we always try to build menus that things can be moved forward into in other dishes, or, you know, can be, you know, we can carry it forward into a food truck or something like that.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Who are some of the people that have been influential in your life to help you, besides mom, but to help you kind of get to where you are today, like in the food truck realm or wherever?
I mean, from like a, you know, bigger name celebrity standpoint, you know, Anthony Bourdain was probably one of the first chefs that really showed me, like, you can be raw, you can be authentic. You don't have to be perfect, and you can still make a name for yourself. Guy Fieri, I love what he does for the community of the culinary world, of the mom and pop shops. And he's a Sonoma County native, you know, so kind of our backyard, you know, hometown hero there. You know, the chefs in college were very inspiring. And, you know, I've worked with a lot of amazing people. You know, I would say that there was a chef by the name of Jeremy Chang that I worked with at a place called Town in San Carlos. And me and him butted heads so big when I first started working there. We were just like this. And, you know, I find that some of the most influential people in my life were people I was like that with at first, and was able to find a way to navigate and create success. And so, you know, shout out to Town and Avenue Restaurant Group. They'll see this eventually. And
that's cool.
I learned a lot working with that group.
That's super cool. Yeah. What sort of advice would you give somebody who's kind of like, oh, I'm kind of thinking maybe food is the way to go? Like, how would you, like, where would you counsel them to go? To culinary school, just get the job in the back of the house, working, watching it happen? What do you think?
The first question, I would definitely you respond to that with a question, and that would be why. You know, what's your passion? What's your purpose?
Yeah.
What do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
If you want to go Michelin, if you want to be like a Michelin rated chef and all that, culinary school is a great place to go.
Right.
You know, you got, first off, your heart has to be in it, because it is nonstop.
Have you watched The Bear?
Admittedly, I have not.
Oh my gosh.
But almost everybody asks me if I've watched
The
Bear.
It's so intense, and I'm like, I don't know that
And I don't know if I need to watch a show that mirrors my life.
Well,
you know,
they're not. Yeah, the vibes are not great on that one.
Yeah, so, you know, there's a lot of that. Earlier you asked me why I didn't go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen a lot of debauchery happen in restaurants.
It does seem to have like a dark culture in the back.
There's a lot of divorce. There's a lot of addiction.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sexual harassment and misconduct and things like that. And not to say all houses are like that, but just overall it can get like that. You know, you get, you know, 20 to 60 people working 70 hours a week together, and you're taking on the brunt of everybody's stuff that comes to the door. In restaurant, people are often fairly abused by the public. It can, you know, the first thing a lot of people want to do is get off work and go have a beer and plus.
Right.
Right. And I was no stranger to that. I'm now almost 2 years without, you know, clean of alcohol and
good for
other
you.
things. So, you know, it's my commitment to when we do have a kitchen and we do start serving the public from a kitchen is that we probably won't have waiters or waitresses. I'll have really good busboys. But taking out the middleman.
Pick it up at the counter.
And just try to keep it really, really family and at the counter, and keep it about the food. So anyhow, I would say, you know, what do you want to do with it? What's your purpose?
Right.
What's your passion?
Right.
And then I could probably give a better guidance.
And I still think that was great. Yeah, I think if you can figure out your purpose early, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, what do you feel like you were made to do? And I think a lot of people just go, I need to get a job and make money. And then they find themselves stuck in this, like, well, I'm making money now and I'm kind of in the wheel. I've got a mortgage and a car payment and kids and and I'm not living out my best life, right? I'm under a dishwasher going, what am I doing when I really want to be making food?
Yeah.
And Risin Vibes.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that, Colin. Like, it's just, what I've come to with money is that money is a byproduct of passion and purpose. And there's lots of byproducts, right? It's just one of them.
Yeah.
There's also connection and validation and family and community. I mean, when I walk in my path in purpose and passion, then I'm open to all the abundance.
Yeah.
Right. And money is one form of that.
Right.
And it's, it's a really good form. It really helps with a lot of things. But if that's the sole focus, then what else is falling by the wayside?
Yeah.
If you're focused on the byproduct versus the mission.
Yeah. You get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah. And it's, I'm sure jumping out of California and trying something new, totally off the, well, you came with, Ecolab, but yeah, I think having that bravery to come and go across the country, that's pretty cool too. So talk about and then stepping into the fear of you, and it sounded like Lacey is like, hey, we're going to do this thing. So you've got a good backer, you've got a good friend cheering you on a little bit. And so you're like, all right, we're going to do this food truck deal. But talk about that, for that person who's fixing the dishwasher today and is like, I really want to get out of here, and do something different. How did you fight the fear or break the mold or whatever you want to call it to get going?
By investing in myself and in a lot of personal development work.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wasn't, no good, bad, right, or wrong. I just wasn't raised with the tools.
Sure.
That, when Lacey and I lost our home in the wildfire, I was coping in all the negative ways. And a gentleman by the name of Rafiq that my wife had done some personal development work with invited us to a workshop called Personal Mastery, and with a group called Climber and Associates. And she was like, if you're doing it, I want in. And I was like, you're taking me to a cult, whatever, what they're going to try to change me, whatever. Like, yeah, that's the point. Something gets to change because what we're doing right now is
working downhill, and we need to change course.
Shift.
Yeah, right.
So we started doing these workshops, and at this point now, 6 years later, we've been through their entire platform multiple times. So learning tools around self-honor, contribution, respect, integrity, commitment, and what it really means to dive deep, take a good hard look in the mirror and being real and saying, we got some work to do. So with that, to somebody who's wanting to take a leap, I would say believe in the unknown. Believe that if you keep going, the universe will respond. Because I can tell you the last several years, I've made moves and thrown Hail Marys that I never thought would produce. And I just started by asking God, by asking my community, by taking risks and facing fear.
Yeah.
And taking a leap.
Yeah.
You read any book about any great leader of industry, Think and Grow Rich, that book changed my life. And the common thread is they all took a leap.
Yeah.
They all took a leap into the unknown.
I like it.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got to fight the fear at some point. And do it smartly, right? Don't just, I'm just going to become a Michelin chef and quit your job as a whatever,
Yeah.
You got to plan ahead a little bit, store up some resources a little bit, plan a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. We had a little nut. We did well on the house purchase, and that was actually what kind of sparked it. Was, several years before we went, my lovely partner said, "What's it going to take, babe? Is it money? If it's money, what's the number? Like, how are you going to know when it's time?
Right.
Because we can keep saying, I'll know when it's time. How? How are we going to quantify it?
Mm-hmm.
So I gave her a number, and that was actually the next thing she said when I came through the door that day. She goes, okay, so it's been 6 weeks. The number's there. So what's your excuse now?
Boom.
You know? And that number was way less than what I actually needed. But it was enough to say, okay, we can get by for 8 months without bringing another dollar in.
Right.
And that's with, and we didn't start with a food truck. I mean, we started with a 10-foot tent and a griddle.
Oh, wow.
And then we bought a little countertop fryer.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we did $4,000 in fried chicken on that little countertop fryer at our first Blue Plum. We had to stop service and clean it every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, something that I picked up, we did co-starters with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. Yeah.
And something I picked up from a speaker there was, what's your they call it MVP, like your most viable product, or something along those lines. Like, what's your bare minimum, right, that you need to get started? And we started focused on that. Okay, I need a tent that's fireproof. I need a fire extinguisher. I need a griddle, and I need some product. And they just go with the fried chicken. That's what people love that we do. Let's just do that. And slowly you build and build.
Yeah.
And then we said, okay, we need to get an entity. And then we did the big push where I was calling every Tom, Dick, and Harry that I'd ever cooked a single meal for, like, what can you spare to get us started? We bootstrapped.
Yeah.
And I think that energy brought in some bigger family investment that really helped us get a down payment on the trailer.
That's cool.
But people are watching. I think overall, I believe people want to see their community win.
Oh, 100%.
And they're not going to support somebody who's sitting on their hands.
Oh, yeah.
So I think, we took action, and that begot action.
Right.
Right. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just sit around and I'll just manifest it while just sitting here in my chair, and millions of dollars are going to come in my lap, and it just doesn't work like that.
No.
You got to get out and make friends, and
you do,
and work your tail off.
Yeah, and
but you might come up with a great idea sitting there that you can follow through on. The Lord will provide that, or you may meet somebody that has another idea that you kind of riff off of, and you're like, oh, this is going to work. This is where I want to go. And
it constantly changes.
But you got to get after it. You got to get after it. You got to flex that hustle muscle, as they say.
That's right. Like Lacey says, body in motion stays in motion.
Yeah.
Body rest stays at rest.
And it changes your energy big time.
It does.
Like just being in motion. Yeah. So, what's something that I didn't ask that you wish I would have, as we're kind of starting to wrap it up? Did we forget anything?
Something I wish you would have asked.
Yeah. Did you like go, I want to talk about this, but we haven't hit it yet. Anything? We've kind of covered a lot of good stuff. And you've had a lot of great answers. This is what I love about it. Like we get a lot of neat stories and information.
I would say, I walked a lot of dark paths. It's taken a long time to get here, but I've faced addiction and never hit the rock bottom, but have definitely made some choices that I wouldn't support me doing in hindsight.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
how did you break free from a lot
stuff.
of that stuff?
There's icky stuff.
Yeah, sure.
We
all make bad choices.
And I want to address it because you talk about fighting the fear. And I think a lot of time I was fighting the realities of what I was. And at some point I just got to embrace it and say I'm not perfect. And
that's your past self, not your current,
not my current,
or your future self.
Exactly.
So you can learn and move forward, or you can sit in it, like you're saying, like your wife. If you're sitting in it, you're staying in it.
Yeah.
Or you get action and you get out of it.
Yeah. And the breaking point was being really hungover and sick through my daughter's second birthday, to be honest with you. And I said, I looked in my wife's eyes and I said, the party's over. I really, what I think it boils down to is when the consequences become dire enough, you'll know.
Yeah.
And for me, that was it. And haven't really looked back. Alcohol took cigarettes with it. That was the route for me with alcohol.
Yeah.
And the choices I would make after drinking, and realizing that I was drinking to make choices.
Sure.
And I say, well, you can just take all your friends with you, and it's been amazing. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
So,
how can our listeners connect with you?
You can connect with me personally, through Facebook, Brandon Bell. I'm public. You can connect with the business at Risin Vibes Kitchen. Facebook's a great medium.
Okay.
We're the only Risin Vibes Kitchen out there.
Nice.
And it's RISIN apostrophe Vibes Kitchen. Those are probably the best two ways. And I'm always open.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I've really enjoyed getting to know you. It's just been a blessing. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And last question, what gets you just fired up? You're like, let's go.
What gets me fired up?
Is it like that night before the festival and
It is.
thousands are lining up?
It is.
Chopping chicken and
It's watching, especially when we get to be at a festival, from a business standpoint, when we get to be at a festival a couple days ahead and we get to prep everything in kitchen. We build a restaurant everywhere we go.
How cool is that?
And to see it come to life, and then to hear the first bass drop and get the first customer, and then that celebration, it's just so exciting.
Yeah.
And I don't even look at my numbers until we get home from festivals.
Sure.
I just want to be in it. They're going to be what they're going to be.
Right. There's no going back at that point.
And so from a business standpoint, I love the festivals.
That's awesome.
From a home standpoint, just that rush of children and mama loving on me, just fires me up to keep going.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Colin.
It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed our conversation a lot, and I know the listeners have too. And hopefully, you guys can connect with Brandon, or if you want to move here and hang out with Brandon, just call me. We'd love to help you move to Johnston City or help you invest in real estate. So if you have any real estate plans, we'd love to help with that. Till next time, I'm Colin Johnson with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. Yeah. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving if you listen to this around Thanksgiving. And just thank you for being a great listener and just a great supporter of our podcast. We love you guys.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Colin.